As the school year comes down to an end, West Virginia teachers are reflecting on the unusual spring semester that they had. On March 16th, teachers moved classes to online as a result of the coronavirus outbreak in neighboring states. In the coming weeks, the governor announced that online instruction would continue until the end of the school year. While some teachers felt like they were more prepared for this situation, all teachers talked to for this story have said that online instruction just is not a good substitute for in-person learning. Of course, different grade levels have different challenges. In Monongalia County, for example, all students from 3rd grade and above get to take home a school-issued Chromebook. But the lower grades had to get creative when there was no device available for them at home.
I do have a student in the homeless shelter, so that's been really hard to be able to meet with him because his parents don't have a device. They were just given a device 2 weeks ago by the homeless shelter, so that's been a saving grace for us. He was a kiddo that I was really worried about reaching out to. He doesn't get to attend our class Zoom meetings with that device, but I can message him back and forth, so that's been great. I have another student who doesn't have internet. We're only using her mom's cellular device. So I am able to talk with her, but I'm not able to FaceTime. So that's been an issue.
In those grades, teachers had to come up with a platform to contact their students on, since they didn't have a program in place. For some teachers, that meant using platforms like Zoom and Facebook.
For me, it was really just figuring out how I was going to push out lessons that I recorded and using the Facebook page, using what I had available really worked at the beginning was putting it out on Facebook. And then I had never heard of the word Zoom before this all started, you know. I'm a teacher in the 40 plus category, so technology isn't really my thing necessarily. So having to really embrace that, and I've had team members who technology is not their thing and they have like rocked this.
Each county is different in the type of technology they're providing to students. While kids in Monongalia County are using Chromebooks, kids in Harrison County are using iPads. Kids in Monongalia County are using Google Classrooms, while in Harrison County they're using a platform called Schoology. But even in classes that have a provided device and a program set up, reliable internet has been an issue across the board. And in some places, it doesn't matter how much money you have, internet just is not available.
Here we can provide equity. When students walk in the door, everybody has the same everything. You've got the same technology, you have the same lesson, you have the same resources, the same teacher. But whenever kids are at home, that equity is different because some people don't have internet access and some people don't have an environment at home that would support their learning. So I think that piece of it has helped teachers get even better at differentiating for kids. They can offer something for the majority of students, but then if that doesn't work, they can't just stop there and say, well, they didn't come to my Zoom meeting, and just be done with it. No. So now we have to figure out, okay, how do we reach the student?
So those first few weeks, I was allowing my administrators as members within my courses of Schoology. So they were at the school during certain hours, being safe and precautious, going in, downloading, I had an assessment in there and I had an assignment and the directions. And they could get to that, they could print it, make a paper copy, and then they were using safe procedures in parent pickup. That was during the food pickup. They would also pick up the packets, they would turn them in. Then we had to realize, okay, they shouldn't be touching those paper packets right away. So they had to leave them lay for a little while, disinfect them, be cautious. They, laid them all out. My understanding is they laid them out, took pictures, and then they emailed all the teachers the information we needed from our students. And then it came to the fact that we realized it wasn't as safe. That's when Governor Justice put us under a more strict mandate as a state. So Harrison County decided that they had to stop the paper packets and cut back on that a little bit. So it worked out that our county put Wi-Fi spots. They went out to multiple schools and made that available so students could drive into the parking lot, stay safe in their cars, and tap into the Wi-Fi to get into the programs and stuff they needed to get their work.
For grades that are less independent, like kindergarten, keeping up communication with parents has been a huge priority.
Moving forward, I will absolutely beef up my communication with my parents. That's going to be number one. I mean, we used to joke that like the number one thing I needed to know was how your kid got home from school, like off the bus, like what bus stop. I mean, that's important, but also how can I reach you with your cell phone number, your email, your Facebook page, just like the different avenues and the different ways that we can stay in touch.
Older kids in middle and high school are more independent and face a different set of problems.
I have students who are working in the fast food industry, and they're still working. So their bosses make them work till close. I have one who is taking care of her mom's baby while her mom works. So they can't always be where a teacher might want them to be when we want them to be there, or have things done on our schedule. So we've had to learn to be very, very patient, and they've had to learn to be patient with us as well.
I think if there's a positive that can come out of this for especially my seniors is next year going to college, they're not going to have someone who's watching them every single day, do this, do this, do this. So they're kind of learning maybe a little bit of how to manage their time and how to do things on a self-paced level. And that can be very difficult.
But for all grade levels, kids who have challenges at home are a concern.
Every week we have conversations with which students are we concerned about, which students have we not heard from, which students, do we know that they're well, but they're not doing the work, So we talk every week about those kiddos, and then we put plans into place for who can touch base and who can reach out and what's another avenue, because that is probably the directive that our superintendent has given to us as schools. Is student well-being is the number one priority. We have to make sure that our students are okay. And then after that, we're going to dig in and make sure that they're doing the academic piece of it.
When it comes to kids who maybe are going through some sort of like abuse or something, like teachers are the first people to kind of like step up and report that. And now that we're not in class, they don't have that sort of extra layer of protection.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the most emotional part of it. Feeling like you were their safe spot and they came to school with you the 8 hours a day and we knew we were safe and they were getting a meal and everything. And now to take that out of the picture is really concerning. I think nationwide, I think a lot of the teachers are struggling with knowing that there's kids who aren't getting the help from home. And now that we're all stressed, they're going into even more of an abusive or emotionally abusive relationship in their household. So my heart breaks for some of them because I know that we're not there in the way that we need to be to help them. So we were hoping, positively that we'd get to go back and have some closure with some of them, but we're trying to stay in contact with them the best that we can and sending little letters and everything just so they know, they can reach out to us if they need to.
It's no secret that seniors in high school are missing out on prom and graduation, and many schools are getting creative and giving seniors special events. One of which is the Shine Your Light event across the state, where schools are asked to turn on their faculty lights in honor of seniors. At Robert C. Byrd High School, the event included a DJ and the announcement of the winners of Mr. and Miss Eagle. So since you teach some seniors, have you heard any gripes about all that?
You know what? They've been really, really good about not complaining. But my heart hurts for them. They've worked really hard to get to this point, and they don't get to have their awards programs. They don't get to publicly receive their cords, their medallions, the recognitions that they so deserve. So we're actually I counted the votes before I came for Mr. and Miss Eagle. So we're actually going to announce that tonight. So that'll be something for them. I want to make sure I got it counted in time to announce the two winners tonight. But yeah, they've been really good about it, and they try really hard to do what they're supposed to do and keep their heads up, keep your chin up.
One of my favorite things about teaching seniors is you kind of get to go through some of these milestones with them, and you see them grow. I have a lot of them as juniors for AP Psychology, and then I see them as seniors for AP Psych, and you kind of build those relationships a little bit. And I can tell a lot of them they're struggling with it, but I've continually tried to tell them this doesn't define who they are. They're just going to, believe it or not, they're going to grow from this, and they're going to build a little bit of, I keep using the word grit. They're going to build a little bit of a grit from this. They're going to be able to overcome more because they're dealing with these challenges.
For other grade levels, missing out on extracurriculars in general and getting to socialize with your friends has been a struggle. I spoke to some of the seniors during Shine Your Light, and a lot of them agreed that online learning has been difficult. And just because you get to stay at home doesn't mean it's any easier.
It is kind of stressful at times because then it doesn't work at times, and then it does work, and it's stressful because you don't know if you're going to get it in on time.
It's been kind of hard. Kind of seems like the teachers are actually giving us more work than they do in regular classes, but it's something we have to adapt to.
Teachers are feeling that pressure too, since many of them are working longer hours and are constantly modifying their lesson plans. But despite all of that, teachers have been rising to the occasion.
I think the amount of stuff that I'm having to find for them to do is taking me a lot more time because I know the stuff in my classroom that works. I know what works for me. I know what works for the kids. I tweak it every year, but I have my set stuff.
I sit at my computer for 8, 9, 10 hours, afraid to leave it every day of the week, just not taking a break, because as soon as the students were messaging, you could hear it in their tone of their text even, that they were panicked because they weren't sure exactly what to do. So I just felt like it was hard to just walk away. We're used to a bell schedule. We're so associated with taking our breaks when the bell rings, taking a lunch, any kind of break we need, the students need. We're kind of told to do that on a schedule. And this was unending. I've never sat and just stared at a computer so long. I'm used to being up, moving around my room, interacting with the students, switching classes. So that was the big part of adjusting that first week.
I think teachers above anybody are problem solvers. So we know if there's a problem, we just attack it. And everybody that I've worked with and on our team has just dealt with it the best way they can. It's been like so uplifting.
Sometimes you need to just be patient when technology isn't working. If it's time to take a break, for the students, they have all day, 4 or 5 days a week. I've told them, I said, get up. That's the way that you're being told it's time for a break. Go take a walk, get a snack, just walk away from it, because you know what? You can always walk back, try it again. I give my assignments on Monday and they're due at the end of the week. So they have the ability to take time when they need to take those breaks.
And of course, another challenge for teachers and administrators is missing their students.
I miss the kids. I'm in the building all the time, and if the kid's not here, it's empty.
Going forward, there is some debate on whether schools are going to open back up in the fall. In either case, staff and administration are pushing for better plans for online learning in the future. Schools say, if anything, mastering remote learning can help with supplemental learning or during snow days.
We've tapped into a lot of things that are wonderful resources, and now being able to figure out how to take that and blend it with what we were already doing, that was wonderful. Being able to, if a child has to be out of school for a certain amount of time, if they've broken a leg, or if they have to be, have to go out of town or something, I think that it's going to keep learning going, where in times in the past, it's had to stop. And we weren't able to do that. So I definitely think that it's made teachers more comfortable with technology. We've been able to do lots of different student responses where kids can respond back, not just in your traditional, take a piece of paper and a pencil and, write down your answers. Well, now their responses have been opened even more so for the way that they can show us what they've learned, and they can get more creative with it and just grow in their use of technology too. So I think if it doesn't change what we're doing and add to what we're doing, that then we've not taken full advantage of the situation we've been put in.
I just think this whole pandemic has taught us what's important in life and what's not. We have come to discover that we need much less. We need fewer things. We need more people. That's what's valuable to us, the time that we get to spend with people. That's what I've learned.